Cool, don't really need to do any of those. I haven't used Shocker in quite some time, so let's just pick something. So, for those of you watching back, first thing to talk about, not a whole lot changed with Shocker. I believe the strings are updated. We'll see pretty soon. No, they did not get fully synced. At least this one, which is new. But I can tell you what that one says. Hey, y'all. Um, basically, the Shocker goes unblockable the way that he used to. Last I heard, this may be bugged. I think I pushed something that might have fixed it, but I'll call it out if it still is bugged. But basically, the idea is that Shocker goes unblockable, but instead of consuming charges if he breaks an opponent's block, instead the unblockable just goes on cooldown. I think it's for 12 seconds, might be 10. I can pull it up in a little bit if somebody's really curious about the exact thing. But the important part is you no longer spend your charges hitting into a blocking opponent. So that part is really nice. Next big thing is that the special 2's physical vulnerability is significantly larger. I think it used to be 20% and it's now 30. Yeah, it was just 20 to 30, I want to say. Shocker also got better crit rating, which matters because where is that? Shocker cannot land critical hits, but he has armor penetration equal to his critical rating, meaning that he's going to punch through significantly more armor now. So it's going to be significantly harder to stop him, and the payout is going to be better. Let's test that. Maybe we don't really need to. So for those of you who didn't catch it, that was 201,000, I think 795. So about 202k on the final hit of the heavy. Yep, 794. Excuse me. Seems like there was some kind of rounding error, or maybe I can't read small numbers when they're very quick. But yeah, that's pretty quick. Let's see how quickly we get through this one. Really, there's not going to be a ton to talk about with Shocker. Because a large part of it is that there was a pain point that used to be there. It's no longer there. And he does a little bit more damage. So he's not going to be able to clear the largest Battlegrounds defenders in a single go. That was kind of the goal. But he gets through an awful lot of them, right? I went through it already, Gray, but the short version is more armor penetration, bigger physical vulnerability, and then the only real mechanical change is... I'll try and show it off here in a second, because I haven't actually tested this yet. See, there we go. Goes on cooldown, does not consume charges. But it doesn't look like it's going on cooldown. No, it's not. Okay, so that's the part that's broken. That's okay, we can work with that. Oh, I should have thrown one more special one. Yeah, but the idea is that breaking the opponent's block no longer consumes charges, just puts it on cooldown. Clearly, the cooldown is not stopping the unblockable. Shouldn't that stun have gone away too? But you won't randomly lose 30 charges on offense, which is pretty big. Yeah, feels good to me. Absolutely not, Gray. There is no way on God's green earth that we are doing anything to make Juggernaut stronger. You should feel bad for asking. I'm not really kidding. I'm probably gonna have to ask y'all to go back and rewatch some Wolf because I've already gone over what changed with Shocker a couple times. Um, but maybe I'll keep getting faster at going over it. Basically, bigger physical vulnerability, more armor penetration because higher crit rating, and as we were just talking about, breaking the opponent's block should just put your unblockable on cooldown instead of consuming charges. Right, Sarab, exactly. And hey, Jackson, sorry to keep you up. This won't be a long one. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look at Sandman. My guess is the new strings aren't synced. Oh, they kind of look like they're here. Okay. Let's see if this is correct. It may just be the strings aren't updated at all, but all of this looks the same as it should. No, the strings just haven't been changed. Okay, then let me pull that up and I'm going to read it to y'all. I know it's in here. Gray, if you're trolling, I don't appreciate it. I'm pretty sure you're trolling. But I don't like it. Alright. I'm pretty sure Gray knows, Jackson. Okay, found it. So the heavy proficiency no longer stacks up to 10. Where is that? Yeah, the heavy proficiency passive now goes only up to 5. Hey, Gray, don't make fun of him. Like, in fairness, sarcasm doesn't really come across through text. And we see some silly, silly people on YouTube. He doesn't know you. Okay, yeah. So the max stacks goes down to 5, right? But they are all twice as large. So you get the same total 8,500 attack rating, but you get it after only 5 heavy attacks instead of after 10. So that changed right there. Right, and that's also true for the SIG. Um, that attack rating also went up. So yeah, they're just twice as good. And then all of the unstable physical burst damage. So the ones on the lights and mediums and on the knockdowns, all of that now scales with attack rating. But the on knockdown came down 20%. So right here it says 170. That's going to come down to, what would that be? About 125-ish. But then it's going to get boosted by all of that attack rating, right? However, the other thing is that instead of scaling with all of Sandman's personal debuffs, it scales up to 20, right? So slightly lower damage per debuff with that's not even accurate, right? Slightly lower base damage per debuff. And they're capped at 20 effects, right? You get the same burst damage from 20 debuffs on the opponent and 21 debuffs on the opponent, but now all of it scales with modified attack, which, remember, Sandman at a rank 5 has 4,300 attack. While unstable, he gets double that. And then heavy proficiency passives are each going to give, or sorry, yeah, basically what the important part is that this is going to be about 1,600 plus another. It's hard to do this math real quick, but the same overall ceiling goes up. So let me actually just type this out. That's going to be faster. Yeah, so Sandman fully ramped while unstable gets almost 17,000 extra attack, right? And now this burst damage scales with all of that extra attack. So dividing that by his base attack, which is going to be that 4,234, you're getting basically what the old max was once you're ramped. Because the old maximum scaled all the way up to 99 debuffs. And it scaled with base attack up to 99, right? This new change scales up to 20, but with modified attack, which can be 500% of base attack. So the ceiling is actually very, very slightly higher, but you get it consistently with 20 debuffs on the opponent. You don't have to try and get to 99, which wasn't really feasible, and you get to that ceiling much, much faster. That's really all that changed. As far as like how he functions, that part's still good. Go live in November. That's the part I always have trouble keeping track of, Wolf. But off the top of my head, that sounds correct. Take care, Cloud. Thanks for stopping by. Would I say these buffs, or at least Sandman's, are on the level of Shuriatuma? I think those are probably pretty good comparisons, but let's figure it out, right? Whoops. That's funny. Got a little bit lucky there, but I'm trying to get my passives up quickly so that we can see what this ramp can technically do. Boom. See, there you go. That wasn't perfect. But that was 50 seconds for a pretty decent health pool. There are no nodes modifying that. And yeah, exactly, Cedra. One of the biggest things that we were trying to do was reduce the need for the special 3. It's still going to be better damage, right? Sorry, I have trouble pairing with him. It's just the animation's a little weird for me. Maybe it's Jane that's the problem. It's still going to be better for damage because physical vulnerabilities are going to ramp everything else. But you're not going to need it. Let's go for the special 3 to see how it feels, right? Whoops. He's also decently tanky because he's immune to 3 different things and is great with inequity. Apologies for showing that off. Okay, my heavy didn't work there. That was annoying. Alright, we're going to try this one again in a second. But hopefully you're seeing the point. Like, the payoff is there. Let's restart and do that a bit cleaner. And dead. We shaved off 6 seconds. Took a little bit of health there. There's going to be some finessing here, right? Because I could have thrown the special 2 earlier, intentionally not gone unstable yet, and then gone unstable with a medium, and then done it. Actually, let's try that intentionally, right? Because I think I remember that technically being better. It's been a little bit. It gave us what? 12 total? So let's intentionally not go as far. This is a rank 5, yes. I actually meant to show off a rank 4, and then I accidentally hit the rank 5 button. In hindsight, shouldn't have bought the gems at first, but that's fine. You know what? I'm going to restart. I still don't like his animations, I'm not going to lie. Is my least favorite thing about Sandman. He feels clunky to me. That much has not changed. But that is a personal hang-up. I do think that the character is good now. Man, the hitbox on his heavy really stinks when you're not rooted. Was that faster? No, it was actually slightly slower. And we took the same amount of damage because they're gonna come in when you charge the heavy. So yeah, I think the first one was better. We had more debuffs on the opponent, which makes sense because you're fresher off the special too, right? Rather than being a little having the find the time to do a full combo. So I do think just not worrying about all 4 of your knockdowns being heavies, letting the first one be your special 2 in Battlegrounds will often be the way to go, but that might change if your Sandman is rank 4, right? That's not very nice, Pinhead. Let's not do that. So we did get special 3 because I was a little bit aggressive. But we had done, what, 350,000 in that time? It's not too bad. I almost tagged you, Aiden. I'm not kidding. How you doing, man? I don't know. I thought you might be asleep or something. They are back in the stream, but I will, like, this... I gave the, like, full breakdown. But the short version is that Sandman now only ramps up to 5 heavy proficiencies, And the debuff burst damage only scales up to 20 debuffs. So you don't get any more damage from the 21st debuff, but everything scales with modified attack now. Oh, and the heavy proficiencies are twice as strong. So you do still have the same ceiling. It's just way, way, way more accessible. There should be some criticism, right? Oh, you know what? I've never heard that. Like, come on, man. The criticism has been voiced, has been heard. I also think a fair amount of it is exaggerated. I don't think Danny desperately needs a tune-up. And I think that the better complaints about Gladiator are actually playstyle ones more than they are... What's the word? More than they are tuning ones. His damage is fine. Yeah, the SIG is very worth it. I will say one thing that we're looking at with Sandman still is that you can't root the opponent if you punish their special with a heavy, and that is because root does not apply during specials, and they are still technically in the special. There are some possible ways around that we're going to look at. See right there, if that had been... dang it, that's annoying. If that had rooted the opponent, we would have saved 2 more resistance ups and done significantly more damage. But, like, y'all can see how this is going, right? Ugh, gross. Oh, he didn't quite... I didn't realize I hadn't gone unstoppable yet. Okay, that's my fault. Okay, let me catch up on chat a little bit. I'm not planning on going too long with this stream, and so if there are like specific act fights that y'all want me to take a look at, I'm happy to do that. But yeah, let me read back. I do also agree with Static. If your characters are always going to need to be touched one way or another, if that's the monkey's paw that we're dealing with, I would rather them all need to be tuned up. Under a minute for 200,000 health is great for someone with that many immunities and utility. Yeah, I agree. I wish that the specials would do more damage and he didn't need his heavies to do it. There's some nodes and fights that makes it quite hard. I think that's fair, though. Because there are plenty of places you can throw heavies, and he does make it easier to throw said heavies. Um, yeah, it doesn't bother me. Like there are nodes that make it hard, but when the damage is this good with this utility, then I think it's significantly more okay for there to be nodes that he just struggles with, right? Um, I think with where the damage was before, that would have been a better criticism because it's like, well, the whole point is the utility. I'm having trouble leveraging the utility because of the reliance on heavies, right? But now that the damage is also good, I think it's very fair. There's also the design reason that the Sandman's designer wanted him to feel kind of like a grappler in other fighting games, and that meant the heavy fit better. Honest question, I only know how to give criticism the way I receive it. Taking you at your word as like being sincere, I would just kind of moderate the intensity of it, right? Like if your purpose is to just convey criticism that you think is fair, then you don't need a word like desperately, right? And you don't need to like throw a punchline into it like it's a comedy show and also take a swing at Sam Wilson's designer, right? Like I'm not trying to be harsh here, but like that's where the reaction comes from. Is you didn't say, "Man, this all of these were from the same designer." It kind of feels like they're missing low on tuning, which I think would have been fair. I wouldn't have necessarily agreed with you for the reasons that I went over, but I think that that's always going to land very differently from their champions seem to desperately need tune-ups. It's almost like they're Sam Wilson, right? Like you can give the objective statement, like I said, without. I don't know if you were trying to go for laughs, but that's what the structure felt like to me. But we don't have to dwell on that. I'm gonna just take that as a sincere question. Any mention of extending his heavy charge time? Is your reason for that hoping to, excuse me, to intercept with it? Or explain to me where you're coming from with that, Aiden. How good is his loop with special twos only? Quite good. That's actually what I think his best short fight loop is. Let's go back to that. I won't just beat up Mystics. Let's go fight somebody without class advantage to see how the burst looks there. Let's go after Drax. Can't argue with the reasoning. um, I think so, Deb. I tried Jane a second ago. Let's try Drax to see how this works without class advantage. But the thing is that now that his debuff burst scales with modified attack, class advantage matters significantly less, right? Because class advantage is, if I'm remembering correctly, 40%. Oh, you know what? I'm doing this wrong. I'm talking and I'm doing this wrong. That was completely wrong. This will be how not to play Sandman. Because, see, we went through that and we did almost nothing. I'm going to go ahead and back out of this. But what I was saying is, like, class advantage is 40% of attack, right? That's not very important when you're talking about a character who has access to 500% of their base attack. Because then you're looking at the difference between 540 and 500. It's not really a drop in the ocean, but it's not important. And so I think this should still be quite good as long as I play it properly and don't just hit the opponent without thinking the way I just did. Which is just short. Which is actually good. Dead. $47 seconds for a kill without class advantage. It is getting closer though, right? Like, Drax has a medium-large health pool, but, like, you might just miss against somebody and then need to combo to finish it off. And so, like, he's not going to be a nuke, right? But for somebody with this much potential for heal reversal, with anti-evade, with anti-unstoppable, with 3 immunities, with the ability to get around damage caps, I think this is still somebody I would put in my deck. There is a real chance, being blunt, that I'll be a lot more excited about a rank 5 than a rank 4. There are certain champions where rank matters more, right? Because you really need to make sure that their rotation clears the opponent, because then they kind of have to start over. I am getting a little bit of those vibes here. Let's try him with class disadvantage. They sometimes wait you out, dash in after Indestructible is gone. Gotcha. So are you asking for the Indestructible to be longer? That I'm not sure we're going to do. I can touch on Shocker again in a minute. I'm not planning on this stream to be very long, but people were very excited for Sandman, and it's a larger change. I'm not playing optimally again. Let's see how this feels. Maybe it won't matter. Whoa! I don't know what just happened. I tried to throw the heavy and nothing happened. Okay. Let's give that one another go. I think I may have canceled out of it accidentally by nervously tapping the left side of the screen, and the block input canceled the heavy. I'm sure some of you understand that that happens. But okay, let's do this a little bit more optimally and see how he works with class disadvantage. Not quite. Shocker also got the quality of life change that now breaking an opponent's block puts the unblockable on cooldown instead of consuming charges. Which, long term, is more damage because that's why you care about charges, but I do think that that's a significant qualitative change as well as just damage. Whoops, that's fine. I think this will perfectly put it. We'll be testing it. Okay, so that's about as bad as that can go. I thought about baiting out the special too, but I kind of wanted to test it. Let's just see what the timing is on this, if it's not perfect, right? Okay, how long was that? 113. So if you have to do a rotation and a half, it's important to note that a lot of the actual ramping is doing the heavies. And I could play that differently, right? Because you get some of the heavy proficiencies from doing the actual loop. And so if you think one loop won't kill, you can play it differently, which let's try that as well. And only do like a couple heavies, because then you assume you'll get the others from the natural thing, and then your second loop also kills. I'm sorry, when did Winter Soldier get good at standing up quickly? I think this is just Sandman, unfortunately. I think he is actually particularly bad at wake-up intercepts, and that's just something you're gonna have to know and deal with. I don't agree, Bob. The whole point of Shocker is to be a nuke. He has the utility he needs. And I think his utility is actually pretty underrated, too. Alright. So that's pretty good. Let's just run to the special, too. Under a minute again. So under a minute, 200k with class advantage. There's some learning there for sure. Is Scorpion not getting torments on special intercepts a bug? Yeah. It's an outgrowth of a fix to another bug, right? Because Scorpion was bugged such that if you triggered his evade while heavy charging, you would keep the dormant torments. And so you could stack up to 99 of them by like playing around with the evade and or going into strikers, whatever. So that bug was fixed because that was never part of his intent. But apparently, when that got fixed, it broke just his normal canceling. And so it's like something, I think it probably goes to see would the evade trigger, is I think how I understand it. And then it goes, okay, if the evade tries to trigger, even though you're going into the special, it consumes your torments. And I'm sure there's a timing thing we can do there. I think that was already fixed, but yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Hey, Easy, how's it going? Yeah, you definitely, his SIG is going to be really helpful, Jupiter. Heavy charge to be longer as a whole. Okay. Can he just not heavy charge right now, or are you asking for extended beyond standard time? Like, is his short, or do you just want it long? That looks pretty normal. Obviously not important to what we're doing, but okay, so you want it to be long. Hmm. I'm not sure I'm convinced he needs a longer than normal heavy charge. Is there any chance this quest will ever be on the live server? Definitely not the top half of it. I'll be blunt with that. This bottom half, maybe. I'm personally in favor of it. I've mentioned it before. Um, I do think it would be cool for people to have more vanilla damage sinks like this. Yeah. I mean, people are definitely going to get weird about it too. You're going to have like a new mystic come out and somebody's going to be like, "Well, they don't kill the test map Drax as fast as I don't know, Juggernaut, so they're bad." And that's stupid. But at the same time, like people are already weird about damage, so I don't think we're really losing anything by running into that. It's just a different kind of complaint. When will the context deep dives be out? If embargoes are still up, I actually can't talk about them, just so you know for the future. But in this case, the embargoes are not up, so I will say one of them is dropping tomorrow morning. I recorded it today. Yeah, Morbius is not unkillable by just tapping his block, so he'll be okay there. Yeah, he's definitely tanky easy. Um, Catching up on chat still, sorry. Some background music. I've thought about it. That's one more thing to juggle. Maybe someday. Especially because of the whole copyright thing. I get picky about music. Um, we don't have to. We don't have to be rude and responsive. Um, there would not be a stun loop, Jackson, because Black Panther Civil War specifically is looking for stuns inflicted on making contact. So I don't think he would even reflect the second one, let alone 10 of them. Really need you to tag me anytime you go live. How's it going, Vega? I don't want to bother you guys. Um, no, these are not the tune-ups going live tomorrow. Although I realize now how the timing of the embargo, which lifted earlier today, is a little confusing given that we update tomorrow. No, I believe Viv goes live tomorrow, so there's still another month for these to get feedback. And in the case of Shocker, small bug fix. We'll go back to Shocker. But yeah, these are still in their beta phase for the next month. I believe for the next month. I guess, Aiden, but I don't know. In my opinion, Sandman is not nearly on the same level as those two you just mentioned, as far as, like, needing to do anything fancy with the heavies. There we go. Let's see. Let's try somebody other than a mystic, or other than a mutant. Oh, what happened with the unblockable? Um, Couple things. I think what you're talking about is when I threw the two special ones. I intentionally waited until I had 20 charges to throw the first special one because I knew it would give me 30. Oh, it used to give 25, didn't it? That was one of the things that changed. Yep, special one now grants 30. Sorry, Vega. Yeah, so the special one now grants 30, which means you can build to 20, throw the first special one. It'll put you at 50, which means that your special one is now unblockable, and so you can instantly throw the second one without risking getting too close to your special two. For those of you who weren't here earlier, quick recap. The other changes to Shocker, physical vulnerability on the special two went from 20% to 30%. Critical rating was raised to 33%, so better armor penetration. The unblockable no longer consumes charges, but goes on cooldown for 30 seconds. It's a long cooldown. I was wrong on that earlier. Yeah, that's all the changes to him directly. All right, let's see this with class advantage, or class disadvantage. Yeah, Pinhead, that's not going to happen. Morbius is not unkillable with Liquid Courage. I don't know why I threw the special one there. I truly have no idea why. See right there? No charge loss. However, it should be going on cooldown. That is a bug that I will be spending some time fixing tomorrow. See, that shouldn't have landed. That should have been blocked. That's on me. Well, it's not on me, but it's not on me at all. I don't know why I said that. But I shouldn't have done it. Oops, getting hit sucks. There's no way I need all of this, but I want to see what the number is. So with class disadvantage, max ramp heavy is still 230, looks like. Let's try that again and be a little bit less dumb. Shocker gets to higher burst damage faster than Gallon. It's almost like he was built as a nuke, and that's why I don't think he needs more utility. Yeah, he's very good. He was intentionally tuned so that the very largest battlegrounds health pools are still beyond him. I'll be honest about that. Come on, buddy. Thank you. So that shouldn't have landed, so I'll pretend it didn't. Of course, I also blocked there, and that didn't. So you know what? Let's just pretend I parried. And then let's see if this kills. So see, that's the risk right there. There are places where he just won't quite kill. But we are intentionally fighting with class disadvantage, right? So let's try just generic here. Hey, Omega. How's it going? Okay, that's what happens when I try and play off my OBS instead of my actual screen. Sorry. Play or read chat, DLL, one at a time. Two special ones into two special two. Let's show that right now without class advantage. That's what I'm trying to do. That hitbox was very confusing to me. But didn't dramatically affect the tempo of the fight, so let's pretend it didn't happen. I'm not playing clean tonight. It's probably about time to go to bed. And there you go. So it's about 140k on a cash out. Not even fully ramped, right? Because that was 90 something instead of 100. But that's kind of your standard cash out. 200,000 done in 47 seconds. Pretty darn good. Yubes, that's just like... That's not how you design, right? Like, you don't just go through every single person and ask, like, well, I could just give him this, I can give him this, I can give him this. You have to have a reason, right? Does Shocker need to have more than standard armor and standard block proficiency? I don't think so. Yes, Cristobal. Cristobal. Yes, we already did Sandman. A fair bit, actually. How's he looking at max charges? We can give that a go on the next one. No, the unblockable cooldown is not reduced on defense. Shocker was kind of an accidental defender. We're not going to be doing anything to make him worse. I should have gone ahead and thrown the first special one, but that's fine. We'll get there later. I guess about now. Excuse me, Zach? Why are you disappointed? Well, that's just rude. I was intentionally going for maximum output, and you just light intercept me like that. How dare you? Come on. That's fine. I just want the number. So there you go. 220 without class advantage. Yeah, that's because this particular tech meta is uniquely bad for him, right, Zach? It's not like there's something about stun reflection that inherently gets there it's inherently linked with using tech attackers. He happens to not work this time, but I don't see that as a systemic failure. I don't think that makes any sense. I also think it's really important to note that by the time he got to 100 charges, the opponent was at 60%, right? Like it's not like he only does damage on the heavy. The higher critical rating means that like he's gonna bypass above average armor and honestly physical resistance because armor penetration is stupid and hits both, but I'm gonna leave that in the corner. But the point being that he basically has true damage on all of his attacks, unless you're facing somebody like Doom with really high damage. And so, like, that amount on the basics is going to be there almost all the time. Do I think he will work next season? I forget what's up next season. That's the sugar pill one, right? No, I don't think he's gonna work there. I think that's a really bad matchup for him. But that said, like, not everybody in defending decks is gonna be stevia pill. Not everybody's gonna be a stevia pill or a sugar pill defender, and so like I still think that a shocker would be one of the better counters to somebody like Domino or your other mutants. I think he's going to be better for more mutants going forward, whereas right now it was not Domino, sorry, crit fail, but right now he was kind of only for Kitty and Sauron, and I do think it's going to be significantly better beyond that. What about aspartame? I think that one was not legally allowed, Slay, whereas Stevia's public domain. I remember us bringing that up in a meeting for some reason. Also, I thought you were going to bed. What are you doing up? Um, is Sandman good? I do think Sandman's good. Yeah, I'm not saying Shocker's not a defender. I'm saying he wasn't intended as a defender. His animations are just rude. If you go for it in Battlegrounds and it doesn't kill, you're done for. That's only true if you don't bait a special before you do it, Bob. A special 2 plus a heavy does not send an opponent red by itself. You're making a choice if you do that. And you shouldn't make that choice if your opponent has a lot of health and you're worried about it, right? Like, to Zach's point, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Because to Zach's point, Shocker is not available as a 7-star right now, right? Oh god, is this gonna like take forever to claim that much dust? It's probably too big of a thing. But Shocker is going to take a very long time to kill larger 7-stars, like a Mangog would be a problem. Maybe not a very long time, but longer than it would feel like is worth it. But we're also going to get more Ascensions. And I do think that that means that Shocker would be a very good Ascended candidate because he also benefits from the ramp of having the dust. So let's see how this feels. Hey, Double P. It's not percentage based, but it's also not really flat, Aiden, because it's again one of those diminishing returns things. So what the game does is it finds the flat number that would be equivalent to 33% and then subtracts that. So if that's what you meant, yes, it is that. So yeah, anybody who has less than 33% armor, he basically just ignores. If I can ask nicely, can we trade in our leftover Stronging Quest tomorrow from a third of the rewards? Dude, if I had that power, yeah. My personal feedback is that Shocker looks unchanged post-tuning. That's definitely not true. Like, that's just objectively not true. The physical vulnerability went from 20 to 30%. I don't know if you asked for Ascension before I did it, but glad we're testing. And I do have a response to the Mantis thing. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, well. Obviously, I would have done a medium punish there and then gone into the, and then gone for the special one, but I don't know why. That's the second time today I've had trouble getting away from Star-Lord's special 2. Not really sure what happened there. So that's better, right? That's significantly more damage and we weren't fully ramped. 46 seconds. Yeah. I do think Shocker's going to be one of those where, like, the rank matters, right? It's going to be a little bit like Spot, where if you're punching up and you're used to facing really large opponents and you're punching up, then maybe he's not for you, right? You're going to want somebody... you're going to want somebody with a little bit smoother of a damage output. And that's kind of true for most of the characters that just cash out in one go, honestly. But I think if you have a Shocker that's representative of like the rest of your deck and the opponents that you are facing more often, or, you know, especially if you can manage to punch down with like an Ascended one, then I think he's going to be pretty darn good. So that's a bit of a caveat, but to Zach's point about Mantis, I think that that's fair because I'm not going to say that Mantis is the hardest character to play in the game. I'm not going to insult anybody here with that. But she has a real skill cap, right? It is very, very easy to mess up with Mantis and just get wrecked. I think Shocker's pretty mind-numbingly easy to use. And so I think it is fair for her payout to be a bit bigger. Let's see how he does against Drax, because that was a little disappointing without the Ascension. Let's try this. And then I'm actually going to go back to Cyclops. I'm almost done with the stream, honestly. I kind of need to get to bed. But let's go back to Cyclops and just do Special 1, Special 2, and see how quick we can be. Because I think that's also an important metric. Come on, buddy. Nope. I really need to fix that bug. It's not representative and it's annoying me. Okay, so not quite max ramp up. Apologies on that. Actually, we can just do one medium, can't we? Okay. Okay, so he can kill with class advantage then. So with class disadvantage, max payout for an Ascended Shocker is 188,000. 50 seconds. That's not bad. Let's see. Let's try the Cyclops one. How about we make that unblockable intentional? No, I don't think we're giving him permanent unblockable without any drawbacks. I didn't see if anybody answered Slay, but the release date for 8.3 was released, or was announced, right? I want to just see how straight going out, how quickly does this go? Does this still kill with 55? It does. So that's a 35-second kill. Factoring in his ability to do that, I do think is important. I thought you were being insulting when you said pinhead. Nah. Nielsen walked into that one on his own. October 18th? Cool, thank you all. Unblockable not consuming charges removes one of my biggest annoyances. Yeah, Vega, I agree. Like, being unblockable is great. It does require some kind of drawback, but I think a cooldown is a much better drawback than, oops, the opponent blocked. Ah. Yeah, you're not alone on the stun, Aiden. I get it. I'm honestly persuaded personally. I think it's more just like we're trying not to change too much with balance updates. They are intended as much as possible to be numbers ones. Oh, one easy opening is definitely intentional, Zach. It's just that once it's on cooldown, it's supposed to stay on cooldown. Not as exciting as Sandman. I mean, Sandman has definitely had the larger glow up, right? Because he was a bit less exciting and looks great now. But yeah, I do think Shocker is a very very strong nuke. You really have to take into account just like how easy he is to play. It's very difficult to disrupt him, literally, unless you have stun reflection, like in the current meta. Yay. New QC. Yeah, man. He's definitely looking like a good Ascension target. I'm not going to be crazy enough to try a Tuma, but alright. Very last fight. Let's try this Weapon X over here, because I remember making him pretty big. Okay, 465,000. We're definitely going to be doing some shenanigans here. We're going to have to line up our special 2 with him not being in Berserk mode. So I just want to see if this is remotely possible. Nope, don't want to do that. And now he's gonna get the stuff again. But how good does this look? Woof! Okay, that looks pretty good. Come on, I need you to throw this, buddy. Okay, well, there's always AI problems. And now we let this go on cooldown because we want him to not be stun immune. So play it a little bit slower because we also want to control aggression regen. Oh, come on, man. I dexed. You're just gonna kill me. Aggression regen building during his heavy charge is definitely not fun. Okay, so don't use him for a Wolverine Weapon X boss, but anything short of that, this is pretty good. And obviously we don't normally put aggression regen on Wolverine. Okay, this guy... A master of the stutter step here. Oh, that's fine. It's time to go to bed. Make the defensive end a bit harder. That's not... Again, like, that's just not something that's going to be within the scope of a rebalance, Zach. If somebody's not intended to be a defender, a rebalance is not going to go back and add mechanics to make them scarier on defense. And that's not me trying to argue, that's just me trying to, like, set expectations. Because that's... If we started doing that, that's just... The balance team wouldn't have time to do anything else, basically. Did he still get charges faster from prowess? Yeah, none of that changed. Special 3 rotation kills. Yeah, I agree. I definitely could have gone for that. Shocker's bad, can't even. Yeah, Zach, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate the back and forth. How does hitting harder count as adding mechanics? I don't think that's what Zach was saying, though. When Zach said made the defensive end hit a bit harder, I'm pretty sure that was the metaphorical hit harder, as in more threat on defense, right? Because after that, he said, like, Zane, right? And Zane doesn't hit that hard on defense. He can, but like the main risk is that he's annoying as crud, right? So that's how I understood Zach there. And that's what I was responding to. I have particular sourness from Shocker because I bought him off the deep dive, had the damage scaling bug. When I tried to refund, they rejected it. Ah. Yeah. I mean, in fairness, it was literally only 1 second in the deep dive rather than the rest of the fights, but I understand your complaint. Yeah. Yeah, I really wish we'd got that one before the deep dive. That month was stressful, is what I'm going to go with. What's the best relic for Shocker? I don't really think there's a great one, honestly. I don't know why I filtered before switching to relics. Because, like, Incinerate doesn't matter, Energy Vulnerability doesn't matter, he doesn't have heal blocks, so that doesn't matter. Like, I can check out some of the other runes, but I'm pretty sure none of this matters. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Technically, power efficiency isn't bad. Debuff ability accuracy is okay, but that doesn't really matter. Damaging debuff doesn't matter. Regenerate doesn't matter. That's kind of nice, but like I guess I'd go Green Goblin, but it's literally by process of elimination because none of the rest of these do anything for him. And I think that's just because Shocker is kind of an unusual tech champion, and because we haven't built a relic for tech champions that don't crit, which is something I would like to do at some point, but we need relics to come back in general for that. Does look hopeful though, 8 out of 10 rebalance. I'll take it. And we'll see, right? Like, I'm not saying that there's no chance of these numbers moving any further. We do have a full month here. If you feel strongly about these numbers moving one way or another, you know, talk to other people in the CCP. I will, like, you know, I'll chat with the balance designer who tuned him up after this stream. I imagine he'll probably watch it back later. We'll see. But what I'm trying to get across is not to say, like, criticism of where he is right now is beyond the pale. I'm more trying to get across, whether I'm doing it right or not, what the goal was. And the goal was, because Shocker is so easy to play, we wanted him to be a more effective nuke, which I think he is, but we intentionally wanted some very large defenders to be out of his reach because he's so much simpler and harder to interrupt than Mantis. So that's kind of the point. Stressful is a very strong word in DL's vocab. You know, if he pulls that word out, the month was bad. It was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. That was, yeah. That was one of my early mental health nadirs. I'd go Sentinel for damage against mutants. That's not a bad shout, honestly. Because we did show off the, what was it, the just one special one into special 2 rotation for that like 30-second kill. And yeah, attack rating against mutants, I don't disagree with you. Because, like, it's not going to help him in the matchups where you have to do the full rotation, but it probably is going to make the difference from time to time on just getting you that, like, razor-fast kill against a Kitty or a Sauron. Just enough to make the difference. I like that show. If the community wanted a champion to get nerfed, the community is not a monolith. The community does want champions to get nerfed. It's just that not enough of the community wants a champ to get nerfed for them to overcome all of the people screaming that we're never allowed to nerf anything. We may still do it at some point, but like the community is a monolith. Janik is the GOAT. Janik actually didn't do either of these. But I do agree with the general sentiment. I love Janik. Shocker can probably handle Havoc. You're just going to need to adjust your playstyle a little bit and bait out some heavies. But, like, he doesn't do any energy damage, so he's not going to ramp him faster. He's also not going to run into Havoc's energy resistance. I'm sure that would be plenty good. Neuro did Sandman. Same one who balanced him the first time around. Oh, it's midnight. All right, I'm probably going to get woken by some people coming in to install a generator tomorrow, so I'm for sure going to go to bed now. I probably should have 20 minutes ago. But thanks everybody for hanging out and chatting. It was a good stream. I don't think I'll do another one of these, but like I said, feel free to try and twist the arms of some other CCP members, get some more of this content. But I wanted to do a bit of this, so I appreciate y'all. Take care, everyone.